Keegan Coughlin, and today we're going to be discussing the role of the executor. And so, hi Keegan, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
Awesome. And we've discussed estate planning and having a last will and testament with some of your colleagues. In those discussions, it was mentioned that the executor is to be named in your will. What should someone expect if they are named an executor?
Great question. So if you're asked to be the executor of someone's estate, there are a few things that would be good to know in advance. Where someone keeps their important legal and financial documents, or contact information for who assists that person with their legal and financial matters. It's important to understand that as an executor, your job doesn't start until after someone passes away. We frequently get calls from individuals who've been named executors when their loved one has passed or is close to passing away. It's our advice initially, take some time, spend time with the person's loved ones, and then we can set up an appointment a week or two following. Nothing is super urgent. It can wait until after the funeral.
Awesome. So after that time has passed, are there some good first steps an executor can take?
Absolutely. So the executor should first attempt to locate any of those important financial or legal documents of the decedent. A great place to start to look if you haven't had that conversation with the decedent is in a safe or where someplace else people may keep important documents. So a desk, things like that. A few items that can be extremely helpful early in the process is the original death certificate, the original will, or at least knowing where that will is stored, a basic understanding of the family tree for the person who's passed away, copies of any assets or debts that that person may have had. A great starting point for assets, if you really have no idea, is their copy of their most recent tax return. Getting that person's mail or having that mail forwarded to you as the executor is a great way to start.
Absolutely. And if someone names me as their executor, am I automatically able to act on behalf of the estate?
I often hear from clients some iteration of, well, they're the executor or I'm the executor, so I can just handle things. In New York, the executor does not become empowered to act until they are appointed by surrogate's court. And surrogate's court is the court for estates in New York State. It's important that the executor understands that they're required to petition surrogate's court to become appointed as the executor. Once they are appointed, surrogate's court issues what's called letters testamentary to that executor, and those letters are what gives the executor the legal authority to act on behalf of the estate. In a relatively straightforward estate proceeding where everyone's getting along and the executor could expect probably a few weeks to become appointed.
Absolutely. And how long of a process should an executor be ready for once they're appointed?
Yeah, in New York, the probate process isn't that lengthy. That's not to say it's short either. A traditional estate, meaning not a small estate, can take a minimum of 7 months to wrap up. 7 months is how long New York State gives creditors, so people who the decedent may owe money to, the ability to raise any claims against the estate. That's things like medical bills, funeral bills, mortgage payments, loans, stuff like that. It's consistently our advice to the executor to ensure that they're aware of the debts and liabilities of the estate prior to the distribution of assets. So a great way to make sure that we've done that is have that person having been appointed for 7 months. This advice often leads for the estate's distribution to start and the closeout process to start shortly after that 7-month statute of limitations has gone by. But it's a fairly complicated process, so some people could handle it on their own, but at Coughlin and Gerhart, we'd be happy to help if somebody in your family had passed away or that you've been named an executor. Reaching out to an attorney for advice on that can help make that process go smoother.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Keegan.
Thank you.